Hi everyone, my name is Kate. In today's video, I'm going to improve 3 of my old drawings. Something like this. I used to make the same mistakes most beginners do, and now that I've gotten a bit better at drawing, I think I could fix most of them. So you will likely find it helpful because I want to show you how you can level up your artworks by following the same steps. So let's get started. For this process, I have a little checklist of things I'll be paying attention to, and you should try it too because this trick really helps when you look at your drawing and know something feels off but you can't figure out what that is. Here's what I'll check in my old art: values, color palette, shading accuracy, proportions, anatomy, and line work. There is one more thing that's going to help me improve these drawings: this head model. I can't believe I went years without it because it's amazing for figuring out shadows and highlights when your reference isn't perfect or if you don't have one at all. It's honestly a game changer and now I use it all the time. If you're interested, there is a link down in the description. So here is the first portrait I'm going to fix. It was supposed to be Bella Hadid. Let me know if you recognized her. Actually, I'm not going to make her look like Bella. I'll just pretend it's not her because I don't have the reference and aiming for likeness would take much longer. I plan to keep the process quick. For you, it will be about 3 minutes per drawing and I'll just keep the things that really matter. The first thing I wanted to fix was the lighting consistency. I kept in mind that the light comes from the left side and in the original drawing it was only partially correct. Some strong highlights were on the right side and that was wrong. It was totally a mistake. I think this portrait was originally drawn in 2020 and I was really into highlights. It was a way to cover imperfections and make everything glowy, but in reality it flattened the drawings. Have you noticed the same mistake in your own art? By the way, the brushes I use in Procreate are all from my own set. I've received a lot of positive reviews about them. I'd say they're super versatile and comfortable to use. I actually stopped using all other brushes. So if you're interested, I've left a link in the description. Check them out. In this portrait, I also fixed some anatomy issues. For example, her cheekbone was a bit too large and her chin was asymmetrical. Honestly, even after years of drawing portraits, I still can't spot asymmetry without flipping the image. So here's one of my tips: flip your drawing all the time. It helps. 5 years ago, my style was kind of chaotic, with lots of inconsistent hatching and random lines. As you can see, I thought her hair looked off because of the countless individual strands. That's not the best way to draw hair. It's better to group strands into larger sections and think about how they interact with the face, clothing, and so on. So let's compare the before and after. Here we go. What do you think? I probably shouldn't have changed her eyes and brows that much. I like how they are drawn stylistically, but not the shape. It's changed her appearance a lot. That was kind of a warm-up. I think the next two turned out better. Here is the second portrait I'm going to fix. It reminds me of Selena Gomez, but I'm pretty sure I didn't use her photo as a reference. And look at this hand. Hands are tough to draw, but I'll try to do something about it. I think her face looks flat, even though I'm sure I spent quite a while on the shading back then. And again, it's because of strong highlights placed the same way in both light and shadow areas. This time I took a new photo of the head model to reflect the lighting I wanted to maintain. Actually, if you don't have one and don't plan to get one, here is another option. Google 3D Azaro head models with lighting. That works just as well. I'm following the same checklist I showed you earlier, but instead of focusing on each part separately, I gradually build up the result while keeping those things in mind. Right now, it's the ugly stage, but trust me, the result is worth the wait. Also, the eyes are so important in portraits. In my older drawings, I often made the mistake of filling the white of the eye with a flat off-white shade, which made them look flat. Instead, I should have added shadows cast by the eyelids. All this flatness came from fear of using dark colors. I used to be so afraid of picking darker shades, thinking they would ruin the drawing. Now I am a little bolder with that, and it really helps make the portraits look more three-dimensional. I'm curious, can you relate to that? Or are there other things you've realized during your drawing journey that changed the way you work? In this case, I think I fixed what I could. It already looks better in terms of values, more truthful, I'd say. And I also adjusted the anatomy, like her shoulder, and most importantly, her hand. I cleaned up some messy lines and fixed the hair. I loved the idea of flyaway strands, but they ended up looking a bit messy. There is a fine line between a beautiful hairstyle with lively imperfections and just unbrushed hair. In the end, I usually add some highlights, but now I'm more mindful about where I place them and how bright they are. I also added a few bluish reflections. It's kind of a signature in my style. Sometimes I use pinks too, it depends. I just like adding little color accents to create a more balanced and vivid color palette. Now it's time to compare the before and after. Let me know, what do you think? Yeah, I can clearly see the result is much better in terms of shading. There is a clear definition between light and shadow, and the face structure looks pretty nice. And she still reminds me of Selena Gomez. I really love how it turned out. Although, to be fair, I still find the original portrait quite good and appealing. Here is the final drawing, and this lady doesn't remind me of anyone. The first thing I've noticed was her hair. So I'm going to refine that later. I started by establishing the shadows and fixing some minor anatomy flaws. It actually reminds me of a game I used to play as a child. I had a magnetic drawing board and I'd quickly sketch faces, imagining they were my customers coming in for beauty procedures. I was both. I was a plastic surgeon and a makeup artist. That was fun, and now I kinda do pretty similar thing here. It feels like it. Okay, let's get back to the drawing. Another common mistake I've noticed in my older drawings is not drawing the waterline in the eyes. This little line really makes a difference. It helps the eyes look more three-dimensional and natural. Also, one more thing that improves the 3D effect: don't use pure black, even in the darkest areas. Of course, there are art styles that benefit from black outlines and details, but in my case, where the drawings are stylized but still lean towards realism, deep black tends to flatten the image. And I didn't just make that up, I kept hearing that advice from pro artists, and when I finally learned to apply it, I saw a real difference in my work. I really love the dress in this one. I think I'd actually want something like that in my real wardrobe. But the mistake here is the same: no proper shading. With the light source in mind, and here it's coming from the right side, I added some depth to the figure. For all three drawings today, I decided not to touch the background. Later, I started to doubt that decision because the background really does affect how we perceive a drawing and helps set the atmosphere. But that's okay, everything is done now, and I believe the difference is still huge. What do you think? Did I improve the drawings? Which one did you like the most? Let's compare the before and after again. I love how it looks. It looks so much better, right? And let me know if you have ever fixed your drawings this way or if you're planning to. I hope this video inspired you to draw. That was the goal. And if you watched all the way to the end, special thanks to you. Make sure you are subscribed for more videos like this. Thank you for watching again. Bye bye.